Hi, I'm Darlene Washington, and this is Spiritually Intriguing, the Church Edition. Here we are again, continuing our conversation with Reverend Dr. John E. Jackson, Sr. of Trinity United Church of Christ in Gary, Indiana. Welcome again.
Thank you so much.
Okay. All right, so let's just get right into it.
Okay.
Another issue that's been concerning me is right now there's a lot of people out there that are still unemployed, and they're doing whatever they can to make it. Now, we have a situation recently in the media where there was a homeless woman who's unemployed, who has 2 children, and she's trying to get herself a job. She's got a little car. Remember, she's homeless. And so, point is, she's desperate, and she decides to leave her children in the car. And people were just appalled. And of course, other institutions, and I don't want to say so much white institutions, I think black people were trying to throw the book at her too, but some people, I mean, if you've been out there alone like that, and you understand a circumstance, then you can maybe empathize. But anyway, I'll tell you what I think of it, but here's the question. Recently, a homeless woman was so desperate, she left her 2 children, her 2 young children, in a hot car with the windows cracked while she went on a job interview. The question is, should she be jailed or put on probation?
Well, I would say wholeheartedly, if anything, on probation. I would say that she would not need to have a criminal record at all. Because again, the context of the situation beg for sympathy.
Right.
Homeless.
Right.
Face of homelessness in America is a single black female with children.
Right.
Second of all, she's poor.
Right.
Third of all, she was going on a job interview. She wasn't going into a convenience store to buy cigarettes and beer or lottery tickets.
Right.
She was going on an interview because she's trying to do better.
Right.
The resources that the right Republican wing have stripped away from cities and in the nation is abhorrible. From not opening up Medicaid to fighting against the Affordable Care Act, to not be willing to raise the minimum wage to a living wage.
Right.
So that it can keep up with inflation, to be fighting against unionization.
Yeah.
It bleeds that you're going to have situations like this where people are desperate.
Right.
And so I would say she, at best probation. But I would not see giving her any kind of criminal record, but trying to do what we could to help her.
Yeah.
She's crying for help.
Right.
Her life cries for help.
I absolutely agree with you because, it's like, okay, throw her in jail. I was reading some Facebook comments. It's like, oh, put that chick in jail. I'm like, oh, no, she's not an animal. She's just trying to make a way for herself and her children. She made a mistake. I grant you.
Absolutely.
It's like, okay, lady, I know how desperate you were, but you can't leave your children in the car and, like that. So let's get her some probation. Let's get her some counseling. Let's keep an eye on her and give her a job. Get her a job somewhere.
Absolutely.
Or at least help her get a job on her own. Do everything we can to help this young lady.
Absolutely.
But last I saw, I think she was still being held. I don't know as of today if she's been released. But what a story. I mean, my heart goes out to her and her family members who care. I don't know where they were at the time that they could not help this young woman. But I mean, who knows what their predicament was either. So,
Yeah. It even calls out to the school systems where we have to create some type of availability where people, especially poor single parents with children, they can have a place for the children to be. People got upset because it was a car.
Right.
But there are hundreds of thousands of latchkey kids who are at home because parents, single mothers, have to go to work.
Right.
And they're praying to God that nothing happens.
Right.
And so it means we have to do more.
We have to do more.
And we as a society, we're the richest nation on earth.
Right.
we can do more.
We can.
It is a spiritual will to want to.
I agree.
And unfortunately,
there you go. The purpose of this program.
Definitely.
The purpose of this program.
Definitely.
Yes.
We take on a very pejorative and penalizing demeanor with people who we feel are less than.
Mm-hmm.
Again, that's anti-Christian.
It is. It is. Wow. Okay. Let's see here. Another issue that caught my eye out there was I was watching television and oh God, it just really made me angry. But I'm ashamed of my behavior afterwards as well, because here's what happened. I'm watching television and they show this cow and this guy is jumping on its back with big boots on, just jumping on its back, stumping it. And then they show there's another cow who's on all fours, crawling on all fours. And anyway, it was just horrible. Then they said that some of the staff were sexually abusing the animals, and chickens and pigs and cows, and I'm like, and so you just wonder, okay, why? Just why? And if you do that to an animal, what would you do to a human? Are you that angry that you or disillusioned about who you are and how you should be conducting your life that you need to do this? So if you are, then that's someone that we need to be checking out. That's someone that we need to have in a special institution. I say not maybe locked up, but on probation. And that's just my opinion on that. But my question is, and this is why I'll tell you why I felt ashamed after.
Okay.
So, would a filet mignon be as tasty if you knew the animal had endured cruel torture by humans? How about a pork chop or a chicken sandwich? What is going on in the psyche of someone who physically and sexually abuses farm animals or other animals?
And you could also add to that list this dish called foie gras.
Oh yes,
where
that one.
You have to pump food
For the
into a
ducks,
duck
yeah.
until its liver just explodes
Which is
because
horrible.
people want to pay exorbitant prices for exquisite food, they call it. Now, my view on that is we have a problem again with the profit nature of this nation.
Yeah.
Where profit is driving everything.
Our ethics have gone to waste.
Oh, absolutely. There was a time I was a vegetarian for about 4 years of my life. In fact, I was a vegan. I ate nothing that had children. And one of the things that led me to that was watching programs like that, how chickens are kept, and how cows are given steroids and things like that, so that they will produce more.
Right.
But it hinders our diet.
Right.
And so we have a problem in this nation of consumption. And so it again opens up the avenue for people to do horrendous things to animals, because people believe that animals don't feel. These are animals. And then there's a religious right wing that says, well, God says we have dominion over the earth, so we can do whatever we want. And you have to add to that list climate change.
Right.
Because we are abusing the earth.
Yeah.
From plastic water bottles to a number of things, to the oil that we're drilling for, the pollution of the oceans and the air from the smokestack. We are abusing the earth that God gave us, which can provide for everybody on the earth.
Right.
And so what we have to look at is we've grown farther and further away from God, and move closer and closer to feeding our wants and our desires, which drives us into these issues that we're having.
Yeah. So, but the reason why I felt so ashamed of myself was because I am a carnivore. And, as soon as I got around a piece of chicken and I was smelling a hamburger, I went to my granddaughter's party the next day, and lo and behold, there's ribs, and I'm like, you know. And the thought crossed my mind, but not until after I had consumed, you know, the meat I was eating. And so, and then I thought about it. I said, you know what? This just shows me that's my next question, you know, for spiritually intriguing. I'm gonna put that out there because you know, it's one thing. And then when we talk vegan and when we talk all these other things in terms of our food consumption, they do things to make plants and vegetables different as well. Absolutely. They do things, yeah. So they're doing things to everything. It's like, is there nothing off limits? I don't know the answer to that question. Some things I think should be off limit, but on the other hand, in order to reach new levels of technology and new levels of science, some things are necessary. And these things are necessary. For example, if we never reached out to have a cell phone, if we never reached out to have a better automobile, you know, so I believe in making things better, but I believe in the natural process of making things better.
I did say I used to be a vegan.
Right.
Yes, the natural process is extremely important. Again, we have a organic garden, community garden here at the church where we grow herbs and vegetables organically. It's much more healthier. And so if we got back to some of the more simpler forms of doing things, not only would we be more healthier, but we also save money. So we also do canning classes where we have a member who trains people in how to can foods so that you can have good, healthy food, especially during the winter months where vegetables go up in price.
Yeah.
And so you know what's in there, and it did not cost as much as it might cost if you get it from a Whole Foods place or something like that.
Of course, because it's mighty expensive, organic food is.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, you know, all I can say is let's visit those farmers, and let's talk to those farm owners about what their employees are doing. You know, you should keep an eye on them. I mean, animals are important too. I know they're for slaughter and profit, and we're all enjoying what we eat. But you know, still, that doesn't mean that they deserve a monstrous death. And now I even understand kosher a lot better than I used to. I really do. So that about does it for this segment of Spiritually Intriguing, the Church Edition. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.